As of today, July 22nd, it is not just Venus retrograde starting, but it is also the beginning of Leo season, which is one of my favorite seasons. I am not technically a Leo, but I do have 3 planets in Leo, and had I been born a day earlier, I would have had 4. Had I been born 2.5 days earlier, I would have had 5. I would have had Sun, Moon, Mercury, Venus, Mars, and Leo, and I think I have big enough of an ego with 3 planets to where, like, that would have been a headache, but maybe I would have been, like, famous faster, so, like, that would have been kind of that could have been an upside. But Leo, I think, is after Scorpio, the most misunderstood sign. I have a ranking. I think Scorpio is the most misunderstood, Leo's the second, and Aquarius is the third for all different reasons. But I think that in today's world, we associate ego with a bad thing, and that's one of the reasons why Leos get a really bad rap. So in this video, I'm going to run through Leo, why Leo is the way it is, like what the astrological makeup of Leo is, and therefore how it manifests in people and character traits in you yourself if you are a Leo. I think that, yeah, Leos mean very, very well most of the time and get a bad rap. So, you don't have anything in Leo, do you?
Nothing.
Not
one single planet.
That's why you don't like Leos as much as I do.
But I like Leos.
Okay. No, you do. You're neutral. You're fairly neutral about Leos.
Yeah, I mean,
I really like Leos.
I'm not, like, in love with
Right. Where I kind of am. Like, if I sense anyone has any Leo, I'm like, you get it. Like, you also are just, like, an egomaniac, but, like, we win.
I feel like I'm gonna have to babysit them.
That's very true. I would say Leos are ruled by the sun, and the sun is literally the center of the solar system. So there's no getting around the fact that the Leo's life is the Leo show, and in some ways that's an awesome thing because when we're putting ourselves first, our cup is full enough to help other people. In some ways, it means like we don't ever share. So like the upside to Leo is that when you put yourself first, generally you're better suited to help other people with good boundaries. Like Leos don't tend to have boundaries issues because they're so self-centered, and like I that's not a bad thing generally. Like it can be when it's underdeveloped and you think you're better than everyone else, but if you're just making sure that your own needs are met, that's really good for helping other people. And Leos are also a fixed sign, so the fixed signs are you good? What just happened?
My sock ripped.
Aw, it sounded like a Ziploc bag opening. Like, yeah.
That's so sad.
That is really sad.
But
that's
it's okay.
Okay, I'm sorry. So, Leos are a fixed sign. The fixed signs are Taurus, Leo, Scorpio, Aquarius. They're the middle of their respective season. So, they're the most dependable, stable, stubborn, and you can count on them. Leo is the middle of summer, so you can count on them to have a very strong self-image or sense of the way that they're putting themselves out there. Ironically, this can also come with a lot of insecurity because they feel as if the way that they think about themselves is not changing. But on the bright side, Leos are very dependable. If you know a Leo and they're not dependable, they either really dislike you and they're doing that on purpose because, like, another thing about Leos is that they are always hyper curated. Nothing is on accident, nothing is low key, and nothing is like, they're not ditzy, blindsided kind of thing. That is more Sag or even Aries where they overlook things. So Leos are very dependable. You can count on them if they're in your like best interest and they're part of your just like group of people. If they're not in your group of people, they're really, really wary to trust. All the fixed signs are like this. Once they're in your circle, they're in for hypothetically life. But to get in there at first, they're really hesitant. So if a Leo just like isn't really catching on to you, if they appear flaky, they're not. They just know that they can't give you an inch because you might take a mile. They're like really, really specific. It's the same thing with the boundaries and the helping other people. They're very, very specific with the way that they fill their own cup up first, and you are an afterthought. But once you're part of like their crew, you are part of family, and therefore you're an extension of them. They view all the choices in their life as like an extension of them. And Leos, obviously, they're a fire sign. The fire signs, Aries, Leo, Sag, are the creative, adventurous, explorative kind of powerhouses of the zodiac. So the fire signs are the most excitable, the most impulsive. They tend to be like the signs that make life interesting. And Leos are, like, it's a unique blend because being a fire sign, they do tend to be, like, more of a, I don't want to say a wild card in the same way Aries is, but they tend to be very energetic and playful. Being playful is, like, a huge, huge Leo thing. They are possibly the most, like, just not taking life fully seriously energy, where everything is a stage, everything is a game. But with Leos, because everything is hyper curated, it goes back to being a performance or everything being for show. And that can lead people to feel like their life is fake or like they're not really themselves. I would say that the hyper curation is authentic to Leos, that feeling like everything is a performance or a show is simply the way that they live life. And I say this, a lot of these things, because if there's any sign that I think I resonate with behaviorally the most, it is probably Leo, because I have Mercury, Venus, Mars there. And I think that, like, for better or for worse, hyper curated, very fake, very intentional actions are the most authentic. And I'm one of the people who, like, I want to keep Instagram fake. I want to keep Instagram highly curated. I don't give a fuck about your, like, no makeup. No, I want you to look perfect. Like, I think it's why I miss a time before Reels, because Reels is showing people like I don't want anything relatable. Like, relatability is like the worst thing in the world. Like, if someone's saying I can relate to you, I'm like, no, you fucking can't. No, you can't. And like, someone last night, literally, when I was talking to those people that we had lunch with, and one of them was like, you have the least relatable life I've ever seen. And I was like, damn right. And that was a bigger compliment than any person that had told me they liked my music that night. Like, just someone being like, you're anti-relatable is like, of course. Because there's like a chosen one God complex with Leo, where it's the opposite of the Aquarius God complex. The Aquarius God complex is like Jesus, Messiah himself, of like, I am helping the collective. Leo God complex is much more of me, I don't need to be the most moral or like the most whatever. I just want the most attention, and therefore I'm the chosen one. Because when Leo is ruled by the sun, and that is the center of the solar system, it is extreme. They are very familiar with the ego. They're very familiar with the I. And the good thing is that because they're so familiar with what it means to be an individual, they're the best at hyping others up ever, because they know the way to compliment other people. They tend to be, when they like you and they view you as an extension of them in a way, they're the most generous. They're the most like hyping you up. They're the most like PDA or like Instagram relationship type kind of thing, because they really, really want the entire, like, if Leo's the lion, they want like the pride. Like, they don't want to be alone. And I think a lot of the insecurity that can be really, really obvious with Leos comes from the fact that they're so aware of their own individuality that they can feel alone. And so it comes with both the God complex and the individuality that is like, oh my God, I am alone here. And getting inside their own head a lot can happen because of the inevitable comparison or the inevitable like ranking. I think that Leos that I know struggle a lot with comparison, with ranking, and with feeling like they're never going to be enough. It's different than Virgos, where Virgos want to be the most helpful or the most competent, and when you're like me and you have a lot of both, it's like, I want to be the best at being competent because that is me. It's like I know a lot of people that have a lot of Virgo and Leo, and it's like a deadly combination because it's hypercritical but also like ginormous ego, so it's just like you're your own worst enemy in a way. But Leos can be so compassionate. Like, they're not, I'll be honest, they're not gonna be the friend where you call them generally, and in a minute's notice, they're there for you and they're willing to help. Because Leos are like lazy as fuck. They're lazy as fuck. They are pillow princesses. They do not exert extra energy. Like, it's very, even on themselves. Like, all the Leos I know sleep a fuck ton. Like, they either wear no makeup or they're done all out. But like, they're not the most efficient, I would say. They know that they're better just like being on camera and then sleeping a lot. Leos need a lot of sleep. Like lions, yeah, all that. But they are the friend where they're not going to betray you because they're too focused on themselves. Like, they're not going to go out of their way to help you, but they're not going to at all have some master plan. They would be too worried about like harming themselves with that. Even the Leos I know that don't have any Virgo are like cognizant enough of social cues and performance and things like that where they don't really want to rock the boat. They're into drama but not fighting. They're into like cattiness and like entertainment, but they're not into actual warfare. That's very much like Gemini, Scorpio type stuff to like actually want to take someone down. They're much more playful and wanting the performance and for the plot. Like, when I say for the plot, that's like complete Leo coming out, because it's all, you know, in good fun for a good story. And at the end of the day, I think that a lot of people just like, Leos have their downsides too. I think every sign is neutral. There's good and there's bad. But I think that in a neutral way, a lot of people just can't handle Leos because they are a lot. Like, it's a lot. Where most people can handle Pisces. Most people can handle Taurus. Not that they're not a lot, but they're like overtly less. Where the Leo tends to be so performative, so ridiculous, so over the top. And for you, you might be of the many Leos who are like, that is not me, but think about it. Maybe you're not an extrovert. Maybe you're not the loudest person, but you know your life is a trip and you know it would take a special person to handle you and enjoy that ride. So even if you have other things in your chart, like Cancer especially, that make you more of like the meek, more like internal Leo, where Leo moon, maybe your emotional world is dramatic, but like your outward life isn't. You don't want to be a public figure. Leo is still a lot. And few people literally want to be able to tolerate that in the same way that they can tolerate like a Capricorn. Like Capricorns are a lot, don't get me wrong, but like, I mean, as a Capricorn rising, like my outward, I'm not dramatic in the way I interact with people. Like Leo risings, I think are a little bit more difficult, like on first glance, the music. It depends. They're more of a lot. I am more difficult to like crack through. This didn't mean to become about me, but it is a video about Leos and like, yeah, whatever. So if you are a Leo, then I think that all this makes so much sense, and that it's rare that a Leo is like in denial. Like they usually are very proud of they're usually very proud of their faults because they feel like their faults are even the best. They're like, I'm the best at being the worst. So that can even play into it, but they're bad at lying. They're generally good at performing, but bad at lying. But for actors, for creators, for politicians even, having a little bit of Leo can go a long way because they're charismatic, and that's like the awesome thing. But like I said, it can be a lot. It can be egocentric. It can be, I don't want to say narcissistic because I don't want to diagnose people in today's world where everyone is called a narcissist and like 0.1% of those people actually have anything narcissistic. Like the amount of people that say I'm narcissistic, I'm like, no, I rank low on narcissism, but like high on histrionic, even though histrionic also ranks high on like random acts out of attention, which I don't really do. I just like, play it up, story, exaggerate, whatever. So, happy like Leo season, happy Venus retrograde in Leo. Now we're gonna get a bit of a fit check. I almost didn't wear this. I'm totally gonna flash people in this outfit, but like I have underwear on, so I don't think it's real flashing. I almost didn't wear this because there was another outfit contending, but that outfit was see-through. So even though this outfit says like porn star in training, it was the more modest option because that was just completely see-through and like was not going to work basically for the plot of what is probably going to go down again. I don't want to be uncomfortable around such events. So this shirt, I hope it's like clearly ironic, but I feel like the fact that I'm wearing it in Vegas is making people be like, oh, I bet she has OnlyFans kind of thing, which like what's new? These boots, always. This skirt is really comfortable even though it's just like complete butt out, but like if I'm honest, I feel like that's not even a big deal in Vegas. Like elsewhere maybe, but not here. So yeah, hope that you enjoy Leo season, enjoy Venus retrograde. I have a video, out on that and everything if you want to watch that. And yeah, see you in the next one.